Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of 8 More Than 92. I'm Natasha Ziambo, and on this episode, we will be discussing the ways in which you can manage depression and anxiety. With me, I have Sister Stella Ade.
Hi,
Welcome.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
First, let me ask this. How can you describe depression and anxiety in simple terms?
Okay, thank you for that question. Talking about depression, I think depression is a feeling of sadness or a feeling of. Okay, let me put this in a more realistic way. When someone is so sad that you don't want to involve yourself in anything fun. And talking about anxiety, I think everybody have one time or another in their life been anxious about something. You know, when you feel restless, nervous, probably that's bit of heart palpitation about something that you don't know. Maybe you have an event coming up or something, and you're like, I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know what is going to happen. That feeling of I don't know.
Okay.
I will relate that to anxiety.
To add to that, I think I would say, for me, I would describe depression as a sense of lack, so to speak, a sense of emptiness that can barely be described. I know sadness is a symptom of depression, but it's not. It's independent in itself, right? So it's a level of sadness that you can barely put into words. The lack of desire to do anything, to interact with anybody. You just want to be alone. You just want to be by yourself in the dark, moreover. It doesn't make sense, but I'm afraid everyone has gone through it at one point or the other. And as for anxiety, I like the way you put it. It's just unease, really. Yes, about what things that you have no control over, things that haven't even happened, but in some world in your head, it's just bad. Everything has not gone well. You're just assuming the worst of everything.
Yeah.
And as Christians, I think that takes away from what we know God to be, what we know God to be in our lives, what He can do for us. But anyway, let me not delve too much into that. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point.
Right.
So do you think some triggers are more challenging to address than others? And if so, why?
Okay. Yes, actually. Come in. Let me give myself as an example.
Okay.
You know, I once dated this guy, and before we started dating, the talking stage was, all fun.
Peaches and roses.
Believe me, it was. It was very amazing. We were talking about things, life, and it was bed of roses. I was like, I found the one. I found him. But then we got into the dating stage. That was when I got to realize that he actually drinks.
Okay.
And not drinking on a minimal level.
Yeah.
Drinking to, drink to the extent that you can literally stand up straight,
Okay.
And anytime it comes to visits, and over time, when it comes to visits in that intoxicated state, I feel like I'm not comfortable anymore. I don't feel comfortable around him. And I didn't know that was actually affecting me. Because it got to a time after I had to break things up with him, even during the breakup, middle of the night, bro was out on the street. I am going to kill myself. And as a proper Nigerian girl that I am, God is working on me. I said, go ahead. I don't care. I was that upset. And I'm like, you're ruining me. I can't allow you to do that. That was after a series of, abuse. There was a time he literally held me so tight, he left his handprint on me.
Wow.
And I'm like, skin that I'm managing. You want to destroy it. It was that bad. And after I broke up with him, anytime I see a car that is similar or that has a similar plate number with his, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Like I feel drowsy. It got to that extent that I'm always looking behind. Who is following me? Hope he's not following me. Hope he's not the one. Who is that? Hope he's not the one. You know?
Yeah.
It can't. And I don't know how I dealt with that. I think I'm past it.
No, thank God for that.
I am. Yeah. So I don't think you can, the way you would deal with a scenario like that, it's going to be different with the way you talk to someone that has been molested or someone that has been raped. Not once, not twice, not even once. You know, it leaves a deeper, long-lasting pain, yes. Compared to mine, so was kind of traumatic, but you
I
can't
mean, a
compare.
handprint on your skin.
Oh,
Come on,
physical abuse.
it is.
You know, you can't. The way you approach that, or the way, or like I said, I literally overcame that quite faster, and you can't compare it to someone that has been, you know, molested. There will need series of encouragement, series of talking, you know, assuring them, oh, you're fine, you're not dirty, you're okay. You know, it's a whole different thing for different people. Forgiveness is of the Lord.
You haven't forgiven.
I know I forgive. Have I? I'm on the way.
Healing is not linear, like most people think. Like, okay, so today I'm in this place. I've spoken to somebody about it. I'm fine. I'm going to be better all of a sudden. No, it's up and down. It fluctuates anyhow, and depending on the situation. I will give you an example of something that happened to me.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So I lost somebody that was very close to me last year. Last year was this. I think we lost about 10 people in the family last year.
Oh my God, that's sad.
But I didn't believe that. She said,
That's sad. That's sad. Continue. That's sad.
Yeah. Okay. So we had like a series of about 10 funerals in the family last year alone.
God, sorry.
And amongst those, there's one that particularly hit me really hard. That was the death of my aunt, my mom's immediate older sister. Because my mom is not here, she's in a whole different province.
Oh.
She was like the mother figure that I had here, right?
Yeah.
And I was so invested in her recovery that when she ultimately passed on, and I remember a friend of mine warned me because I was so invested, and he noticed that he asked me to delegate some of the issues, because I'd try to make sure I'm at every appointment. I tried to make sure that this is taken care of, try to do this and that. In as much as they were other people, I took it personally, right? So the friend of mine then told me, if you try to do everything on your own, you will get overwhelmed and you won't manage. And if something happens to her, you will blame yourself. In the moment, I did understand where the person was coming from, and I appreciated the sentiment. But I was like, okay, so it has to be done, you know? I care about her. I want to see her getting better. She had stage 4 breast cancer. So when the diagnosis was given, it was just literally her and I in the doctor's room. Wow. So it was heavy, and when she ultimately passed on, I felt like there were still some other people that needed me to be strong for them. So I didn't process that grief. Right? So I compartmentalized, and then other people kept on dying. So it was just like, okay, no, I'll deal with this after this one.
Adding up.
Like it was piling up. And then at the end of the year, I found myself in a state of, I don't think I've ever been that depressed in my life. I couldn't go anywhere for 2 months straight.
Wow.
I was literally just locked up for 2 months straight. I wasn't stepping outside the house. I was, it was long. But that to me, I felt was heavier than the other bouts of depression I may have had. Maybe from a broken heart because a boy, because a boy broke up with you or something like that, when you thought he was the one. You started exchanging last names and whatnot, all of that jazz. So that I do agree. Like, there are certain triggers that are a lot harder to deal with. Like, even now, there are times when the sadness of last year comes back, right? And I can't say I know how to deal with it in and of myself, but I'm thankful that I've had a strong support system. I've had friends, I've had family. I was seeing a therapist at some point.
Wow.
So it has been a roller coaster, so to speak, but God has been faithful. I have to give credit to God for the most part. How can somebody, or even yourself, struggling with faith, reconcile your mental challenges, your mental health challenges with your beliefs? Because personally, I have major trust issues. It's to a point where it's overwhelming, right? So I don't easily open up to people, and typically we have counselors and pastors at church and whatnot that you should be able to open up to and speak to, but my trust issues, my trust issues will not let me, and I prefer to. I have a small circle of people that I trust that I can open up to, but it's not.
Church is not the building. Church is you and I. It's a family.
Yeah,
we are a family. I should be able to walk up to you and tell you, sis, I'm going through this. What should I do? I think, you know, that I think should be the easiest thing to do in church. Because take a look at the Bible. Back then, I think it was written that if you have a problem, bring it to the brethren. We'll talk about it. We'll help you. But I don't think that's the case nowadays. I don't think so. Because you find out the person you're saying, I take for example, I came to you and say, oh, I think I've been molested. I was molested. The next thing you will hear, you're hearing it from Mrs.
Right?
Miss. And you know, you don't feel, next time if you want to, you know, open up, it will be hard. You want to draw back. I don't think that should be the case. We as Christians, as fellow Christians, we must have a warm environment to talk to someone. And even if, I think before you even talk to someone, what is your relationship with them? You know, I can't just walk up to someone, anybody in church. It's a big church. A lot of people come to church. And someone said that the church is like an hospital. Different people. I can't just walk up to someone. You'll find your news on BBC.
That's actually what happened to me. So
I think our spiritual leaders, they have a whole lot to do. Because we as youths, you know, this is the time when even the slightest of things can be so heavy. It can be so overwhelming. They must be able to, you know, come down to our level and be able to welcome us and say, okay, whatever it is, you can talk to me. Not to me.
It'll be kept confidential.
Yes, it'll be there.
Do you think it's possible to maintain a positive mindset while going through depression and anxiety? Because personally, I think are you really depressed if your mindset is positive?
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I remember when as a young girl, I just left secondary school. And as a first child, you know, every young child or every young adult, you've planned your life. you know, you are still like at age 15 or at age 16, I'm out of secondary school. At age 17, I'm in the university. At 21, I'm done. God.
All those hopes and dreams.
Yeah. You know, the way life opened my eyes, I'm like, no, this was not what I planned for. This was not the plan.
Are you comfortable talking about what exactly happened?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Out of secondary school, as the first child, you know, I've planned my life. And I'm bright. I'm a very bright kid. Then we did post-UTME. Post-UTME is like the exam you take for the university you are applying to. It's a lot. Then I did post-UTME. I failed in flying colors. I failed in flying colors. And I was so downcast. Like, you know, I've planned out my life. This is not part of the plan. My dad, my mom, oh, it's okay. You'll be fine. That year went. I went to do A-levels. So the whole different story. That's one went. After A-levels, I got my results. COVID came. I'm like, what is going on? After COVID, then it got to a point, and that's like after 4 years of staying at home, doing nothing. 4 good years of staying at home. Then I wasn't smiling. I think I was almost depressed at that point. Because I was still at home when my younger sister got admission into school. When she got admission into school. Then, to God be the glory, someone just came up. One of my cousins just came to our house. Like, oh, there's this school in Benin Republic, Cotonou. She can go even without writing jam and all of these things. And I was this kind of, I am still this kind of person that once I fix my mind on something, if I don't get it done, I'm not leaving it. Because I have had other opportunities. I wrote nursing exam, entrance exam. I passed. But I said no. I want to do medicine. Medicine is my calling. You know that kind of stubbornness. Medicine is my calling. So at that period of time, you know, I find myself going to bed late crying. I'm not laughing with my younger ones. I was getting angry easily. There wasn't a time I slapped my younger sister. She bled from her nose. I feel guilty. The fact that I slapped her. And my 5 fingers, like, wow, that was so wicked of me. But God is working on my anger issues anyways. It took a series of discussions with my parents. You're fine. You're going to get raised. And a lot of people were talking to me, telling me, oh, you'll be okay. It might look rough. It might seem rough. People were coming with ideas. Okay, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this?
A few years ago, I was...
Okay.
Calm down.
All right.
A few years ago, I was in a relationship. A very happy relationship at that. There's this guy, let's call him Boogums.
Okay.
Let's call him
You're giving
Boogums.
names now. All right.
Let's call him Boogums.
All right.
He was, I mean, like any other human being, he had his kinks and flaws and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I was very happy, right?
Okay.
To the point where I even told my mom about him. I never spoke to my mom about my dating life.
That's a different level.
No, because I thought I arrived.
Yes.
I thought
Jerusalem.
Listen, if I tell you that I was willing, he has a unique last name. Let me call it a unique last name, right?
Okay.
I was willing to accept it. I was more than willing to accept it. There were instances that just
let it out.
As human beings, I think one of our fundamental needs are to love and feel loved, right?
Yeah.
And so I had that. I was very, very happy in that relationship, that I didn't think anything could, get in the way of that. So we had to have a certain difficult conversation.
Okay.
Right. At the time, I feel like my position has changed now, but at the time, I wasn't willing to have children of my own.
Okay.
For reasons that I can't get into at this time,
Okay.
but I wasn't willing to have children of my own. I was more than willing to adopt, right?
Okay.
But you know how men are. They
Yeah.
want their bloodline to continue. All those things.
Yeah.
So in the moment when I explained my reasons, he said he understood, right? He was very supportive. He was like, no, you have a point, this, that, this. Everything was seemingly okay, right? A few weeks down the line, I just noticed like a few changes here and there. We weren't talking as we used to. He wasn't making as much of an effort.
Men.
All men do is lie and get yes.
Men.
I will always say this. But yeah, we weren't as connected as we were or as we used to be. So there was a small fight that came up. A small fight, very small fight. And it was just blown out of proportion that he said, no, you know what? I don't think I can go on with this.
Yeah,
And I was like,
where is this coming from? Bro,
it
I
didn't make
think
sense.
he has
It didn't make sense.
ruminated over things.
I was in disbelief for a solid week. Like a solid week, I couldn't comprehend what was going on.
With it.
I was just, everything was funny to me during that week. Everything that anybody said was hilarious. I was just laughing my lungs out. Until I had to call him and say, like, what are you being for real? Like, is it real? You know? Like, and then he was like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to change my mind.
Wow.
Yada, yada, yada.
I was like, what is happening?
At that point, I hadn't told anybody. Because first of all, this is somebody that was on my WhatsApp DP. This is somebody who was...
You guys have gone far.
I was rubbing it in people's faces, basically. I was rubbing it in people's faces.
Wow.
That I was in love. Wow. Because I was. So when that ended, I didn't feel... I had so much to process, quite all right. But I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody about it. Mostly because I thought they were going to judge me. I thought they were going to bring out the fact that, oh, so what you were showing off. So, right?
You found the one.
Yeah, like where's it now, right? All those things. And it culminated into this heavy load of depression. And thankfully, I don't know if I can say thankfully, but that was the period when COVID happened. So we had to go home. I took that as God's grace because then I couldn't be around. I didn't need to be around people. I didn't need to be around people. I had time to digest it, and it was heavy because I think I invested a little too much of myself.
Yeah.
So even the letting go process was
hectic.
Yeah. So I think that we should be able to allow people to be vulnerable in whatever is going on in their lives without the scrutiny of, oh, but 2 weeks ago you were saying this. Oh, but this, that, this. Like, you don't need to
allow them to go through the process.
Give them the grace,
give them chance, give them space.
Thank you. I think that is something that should be emphasized in our friend groups, communities, churches, schools, and all of that.
Especially for the men. Yeah. And we know men also go through sexual abuse. And they don't expect you to. They'll ask you, this sexual abuse.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It is.
Allow them to talk. Listen to them. Men go through a lot.
My last question before we close, what's the one takeaway you hope the listeners or the viewers will remember from this conversation?
You can talk to someone. Maybe there is someone out there going through the same or have gone through it. talk, please. Talk to someone and breathe. Breathe.
First and foremost, you need to understand your triggers. You need to know what triggers you. And then, if and when you're triggered, try to keep track of what works for you to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
If you need to journal. If you think, for me, what the closest thing, the easiest thing for me is praise and worship. It gets me out of that feeling of sadness, that feeling of anxiety and worry. Like, it just gets my mind off of that. So for me, that's what works. Short term. I don't know if I can say short term, but like an immediate solution for me is praise and worship, right? So for you, I don't know what that may be, but try to keep track of things that work for you in your times of depression or your times of anxiety and all of that. Then the other thing would be to surround yourself with people that care about you. Try, by all means, to keep people around you that you know have your best interests at heart. Because half the time, these things feel so heavy because you feel like you don't have people that you can talk to, that you can go to, or like you feel like the people that are around you are the cause of your anxiety or your depression. So try to, like she said, if you need to cut off some people, cut them off. Do it gracefully, of course, but if that's what you need to take care of yourself, do that, because at the end of the day, you are as good to them as you are to yourself. So what you pour out first has to come from within. So if you don't have love to give, if you don't have grace to give, if you don't have all the positive things that you need in your life within yourself, you won't be able to pour them out into others. So that is my takeaway that I hope you will remember from this conversation. And with that, I'm not sure if you have anything else to add.
No, you said it all.
Alrighty. So want to thank you so much to all our viewers for taking the time to tune in, to watch until the end. And we do hope you have liked and subscribed to our channel, because we will have more content that will tickle your fancy. And so we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.